प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna everybody, welcome you all. So let's begin. Which prayers are we learning? Anyone? Yes.
Prayers by ladies of Hastinapur.
Haribol. Yes, prayers by the ladies of Hastinapura. Okay. So let's continue. We started in the last class. It's a very short prayer actually. We will try and cover 2 verses today. सवायं यत्पदमत्र सूरयो जितेन्द्रिया निर्जितमातरीश्वर मातरिश्वनः पश्यन्ति भक्त्या उत्कलितामलात्मना नान्वेष सत्त्वं परिमार्ष्टुमर्हति. Translation. Here's the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. And that is the only way to purify existence. Who wants to read the purport?
May I read, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Purport. As it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord can be known by his real nature by dint of pure devotional service only. So it is stated here that only the great devotees of the Lord who are able to clear the mind of all material dust by rigid devotional service can experience the Lord as he is. Jitendriya means one who has full control over the senses. The senses are active parts of the body and their activities cannot be stopped. The artificial means of the yogic processes to make the senses inactive has proved to be abject failure even in the case of the great yogis like Vishwamitra Muni. Vishwamitra Muni controlled the senses by yogic trance, but when he happened to meet Menaka, a heavenly society woman, he became a victim of sex and the artificial way of controlling the senses failed. But in the case of a pure devotee, the senses are not at all artificially stopped by doing anything, but they are given different good engagements. When the senses are engaged in more attractive activities, there is no chance of their being attracted by any inferior engagements. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the senses can be controlled only by better engagements. Devotional service necessitates purifying the senses or engaging them in the activities of devotional service. Devotional service is not inaction. Anything done in the service of the Lord becomes at once purified of his material nature. The material conception is due to ignorance only. There is nothing beyond Vasudeva. The Vasudeva conception gradually develops in the heart of the learned after a prolonged acceleration of the receptive organs. But the process ends in the knowledge of accepting Vasudeva as all in all. In the case of devotional service, this very same method is accepted from the very beginning, and by the grace of the Lord, all factual knowledge becomes revealed in the heart of a devotee due to dictation by the Lord from within. Therefore, the controlling Controlling the senses by devotional service is the only and easiest means. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Next shloka. तवा अयं सख्यनुगीतसत्कथा वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः य एकैषो जगदात्मलीलया सृजाति अवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते. Translation: O dear friends, here is that very Supreme Personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of the Vedic literature by his great devotees. And it is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the world, material world, and yet remains unaffected. Purport, who wants to read? It's a short purport.
I'll read Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literatures are glorifying the greatness of Lord Sri Krishna. Here it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam also. The Vedas are explained by many branches and sub-branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord like Vyasa, Narada, Sukadeva Goswami, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahalada, Janaka, Bali, and Yamaraja. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially the confidential parts of his activities are described by the confidential devotee Sukadeva Goswami. In the Vedanta Sutras or Upanishads, there is only a hint of confidential parts of his pastimes. In such Vedic literatures as the Upanishad, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane exception of his existence. His identity being fully spiritual, his form, name, quality, and paraphernalia, etc., have been elaborately distinguished from matter. And therefore, he is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. But factually, he is the Supreme Person, Bhagavan, and he is partially represented as Paramatma or the impersonal Brahman. Thanks, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Yeah. So here, first verse for the day, we learn it is said that the Lord can be attained only from pure devotion service. There is no other way. Right? Here it is said, Prabhupada also explains in a very elaborate form that pure devotion service is the only way to achieve the Lord. There is no other way. Right? And here it is said rigid devotion service. What is rigid devotion service? Anyone knows?
Adhering to the principles of the
Yeah. Adhering to the principles of the Vedas, okay, or the spiritual master. And then, any other answers? What is rigid? Adhering to principles also means devotional service. But why is the word rigid used? Yeah, Kodandaram Prabhuji has got it right. Strong. Strong devotional service. Right? So it is said in Bhagavatam, same first canto, I think second chapter, right? Where it is said, सवै पुंसां परो धर्मो यथा भक्तिरधोक्षजे अहैतुकी अप्रतिहता ययात्मा सुप्रसीदति. So it is said, savai pumsam paro dharmo yata bhaktir adokshade ahaituki apratihati yayatma suprasidati. Right? It means savai pumsam paro dharmo, for all of us, right? For all the souls, the only way to satisfy ourselves, that is the soul, we are the soul, not the body, right? So satisfaction for the soul comes when we do bhakti. Right? Yata bhaktir adokshaje. To whom? Bhakti to the Lord Krishna, right? Now, what kind of bhakti should it be? Ahaituki apratihata. Now, anybody knows what is the meaning of the words ahaituki and apratihata? What is ahaituki and what is apratihata? It says, it teaches us what kind of devotional service we need to offer. It should be ahaituki and apratihata. Anyone knows?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Ahaituki unmotivated,
Yeah.
Apratihata uninterrupted.
Very nice. Ahaituki is unmotivated or unconditional, right? You're not supposed to do devotion service under any condition, as in, okay, I'm doing devotion service, so in return, I want this particular thing from the Lord. In return, I want that, I want this. So that becomes business. That doesn't become love. Devotional service means love, right? We can't love a person with something expecting something in return. Then that is normal business. That becomes normal in how material world it happens. It'll be the same, right? Some difference should be there, no, because this is spiritual and it is directly with Krishna, right? So when you offer devotional service without expecting anything in return, unmotivated, that is called ahaituki. And apratihata, as Mataji said, it is uninterrupted, right? Uninterrupted means whatever happens in life, we are not supposed to stop offering devotion service. If you stop, that means we are not devotees. We are doing it for something, right? Because if we are devotees, if we really want to serve Krishna, then whatever happens, we will not stop, right? In one of the lectures, when Maharaj translated the same thing, ahaituki apratihata, in a way that modern world understands, right? Very easy to relate. So what he said, ahaituki, he translated it into sincerity, right? Sincerity in the heart, right? Without expecting anything in return, same as unmotivated, right? Sincerity means just going on doing devotional service, right, according to your capacity, according to your level, wherever you are, however you are, right, wherever you are literally, and however you are, just continuing to offer devotional service, right? Same thing applies to pratihata means seriousness, right? Seriousness. If that seriousness is there in heart, then we will never stop. Whatever happens, like if we get fever, then you may ask, if we get fever, how to offer devotion service? Anyone knows the answer? If you get fever, how to offer devotion service? Yes? It is said ahaituki apratihata, right? Apratihata means uninterrupted. We should never stop offering devotion service. But if we get fever, how to offer?
Mataji, even on the bed, we can keep chanting in our mind.
Yeah, you can chant in your mind on the bed. If that's not possible, use Prabhupada's chanting, just play. You can ask your family members to play, or you can play on your phone, right? Yeah, Godandaram Prabhu is saying, no, Manasa Bhakti. In the mind also, you can just simply chant, or you can imagine the form of the Lord's pastimes. You can remember smaranam, you can do on the bed, right? Or you can ask someone to play the lecture. Not lecture, you'll not be in a position to listen to lecture when you have fever. You can just ask your family members to play Prabhupada's chanting, right? That chanting box we get, that you can play, or on the internet you can play, right? And just keep listening to it. You can sleep, no issues. If you get sleep, you sleep, but keep listening to the chanting and sleep, right? At least your subconscious mind will be getting fed with Harinam, right? And so in so many ways you can offer. You can just sleep and offer devotional service, right? So devotional service has no bar. You can offer devotional service anyway, anywhere, in any way, right? But that strong desire has to be in the heart. We have to make up our mind, whatever happens, I will offer devotion service, right? In any way possible, right? So it is said, Srila Prabhupada says eating is also devotional service, eating prasadam. Can you imagine? That's why it is said honoring prasadam. We don't say eating prasadam, we say honoring prasadam, because when you eat Krishna prasadam, you are actually eating Krishna's saliva, right? That means what? You're actually serving the Lord, right? It is said, no, from Diksha Gurus, if you get a chance from your Diksha Guru or from your senior sannyasis, take remnants of the prasadam from their plate, right? And why? Because they represent Krishna. And if you eat Krishna prasadam, that means you're eating the saliva of the Lord himself, right? That is a best service you can do. If you are not in a position, at least eating prasadam is the best way you can offer devotional service. Chanting, right? That is another way you can offer devotional service. Ahaituki apratihata, non-stop, wherever you are, however you are, in whatever condition you are, you can always offer devotional service. I think one of the great devotee told once, right, their many devotees came and complained, it seems, in my family they are not allowing me to do devotion service, and outside if I go, I have so much of work. I travel, I sit in office and work, and so much of work I have, I can't offer, only no time only, right? So that devotee said, if at home, if you are not allowed, if there are 100 Hiranyakashipus in your home, you can be one Prahlad. Can you imagine what he said? Right? If there are 100 Hiranyakashipus in your house, you can be one Prahlad, right? And you can still offer devotion service. The intense desire, if Krishna sees in your heart that you have that intense desire, right? We might be old, we might not have money, we might not have support, right? We might not have knowledge. Some devotees are illiterate. They do their studies only by listening, because they don't know how to read. They've cleared their interviews. Can you imagine their Diksha interviews they have cleared, and they have got Diksha also, right? They have written their exams for Diksha and all that. How? Right? Because they had audio exams. They did not have written exams, right? So because they have that intense desire in their heart, Krishna makes way. Krishna will be melting looking at that desire. Oh my God, he doesn't have all this, but just look at the desire he has. He wants to do something for me. I have to make way for him. So Krishna will be compelled to make way, and he will make way. So what we should do, we always have to have desire. That's the first thing. That is the most important thing, because that opens the door, right? And when that desire comes in our heart, when that desire will come, anyone? Having that desire is the first step, but how to get that desire in heart?
Through association,
Okay, association, one thing. But why will you associate?
because desire is there.
Where is that desire coming from?
No, through this prasadam and other things, at least people will come and that will incur devotion to the non-devotee.
Okay, but
Desire
even
comes
so,
from
you
heart.
have to eat prasadam after coming in association only, no? Not with.
Mataji, Shravanam Mataji.
Desire from heart.
So basically, the desire, yeah, all this is fine. This is how you get that desire. But prasadam, it could be association, it could be shravanam, as Mataji said, right? But what happens is that easily desire won't come in heart. From years we might be listening, right? There is one devotee that from, I think, 22 years, she's a very senior devotee. She's connected with ISKCON for 22 years, but that desire in heart to take initiation came only 1 year ago. Can you imagine? To take initiation, she was not willing to take initiation at all, in any cost, at any cost. Why? Because she never had that desire. Why? So the main reason when desire will come is, again, when you get that higher taste, right? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinam रसो वर्जम रसो अप्यस्य परम दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनाम, right? Raso varjam raso apyasya param drishtva nivartate. Only when the higher taste comes, right? If you listen, you might be listening to a lecture, at the same time you might be watching a cricket match, right? Or you might be listening to a Bollywood song. Say you listen for 1 hour lecture, and then after that you go for a movie and you listen to Bollywood songs in the movie. Okay, so what is happening? Where is the higher taste? The taste for you, for us, right, in that condition is the Bollywood song, right? We might listen to 1 hour Bhagavad Gita lecture, but after that it'll drag. Oh, my friends are going, I also want to go for the movie. Then what happened to the lecture? What happened to that motivation, that effect? It did not stay long, right? The moment the class got over, motivation also got over, right? Why? Because there is no higher taste, right? Higher taste means something else is giving you more interest than the Bollywood song. Something else is giving you more, you like to do that more than your routine activities. Vishaya vinivartante. Vishaya means the sense objects, right? Here, for example, the sense object is Bollywood song, right? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinam raso varjam. Rasa varjam, you give up that. You give it up. Why? Because you have something better to cling on to, right? Param drishtva nivartate, right? So when you reach a stage where you are willing to give up the Bollywood music completely because you are getting more enjoyment in bhajans, right? That is when your faith or your desires are getting stronger to serve the Lord. Can you imagine? Param drishtva nivartate. That means you're getting higher taste. When you have something better, why will you look at something not something cheap? Right? Like say you have a good car, one Benz, Mercedes, or some car, okay? And next to you there is one broken cycle, right? If you are asked to choose, what will you choose? You will choose a car because that is more nice. No, it's better. Who will choose a broken cycle? No one will choose, right? So but so here the Bollywood song is like that cycle, and bhajan zirla is like that Benz car, right? So obviously we are choosing the Bollywood song right now is because that taste is not developed in our heart, right? When you get the taste, automatically desires start developing. More and more strong desires you will get in your heart to see the Lord and to serve the Lord, right? Otherwise it's impossible. That's why it is said over here, full control of life and senses. That is very important. We are not the enjoyers. We are not the enjoyers. So we have to control the sense. Controlling senses means using our senses to serve the Lord, right? So I mean your ears is a sense, right? To hear. So you use your ears to hear. So you have to hear because you have ears. You have to hear something. So that something makes the difference. What are you hearing, right? You're hearing a bhajan or you're hearing a Bollywood song, right? So if you're using your ear to hear a Bollywood song, that means you're doing sense gratification, right? So that means we are not controlling the senses. But if we are using our ears to hear bhajan, that means we are serving the Lord, right? Because we are hearing about Him, we are hearing His glories. Then what is happening? We are using our ears for the Lord, right? So that time you are controlling your senses. Controlling means serving, for serving the Lord. There's no other meaning for control. Controlling means serving the Lord because you either serve the Lord or you serve the Maya, right? So every time we need to understand what am I doing now, right? Because every time you do something, it is either for the Lord or for the Maya, right? So what are you doing? You're eating without offering the Lord. That means you're serving Maya. You've become Maya's das. You're eating prasadam, which is offered to the Lord. That means you've become Krishna das, right? There was one person, I think Prabhupada's disciple, if I'm not wrong. He got initiated, and Prabhupada gave him the name Hansadut, right? Hansadut Das. And then this devotee started thinking, I mean, he started thinking even in the night, in dreams and all, he started thinking, who is this Hansadut? Who is this Hansadut? He didn't know who is Hansadut. He asked so many devotees. Nobody knew who is Hansadut, right? Then he's a foreign devotee, so he didn't have much knowledge about the scriptures. So what happened? Next day, he went to Prabhupada and he was like, Prabhupada, yesterday entire day I didn't sleep. Then Prabhupada was like, why, what happened? Then he was like, the name, you gave me Hansadut as my name, but who is that? I want to know about that person. Who is Hansadut? Who is Hansadut? Right? He's like so desperate, he's not letting Prabhupada talk only. He's going on, who is Hansadut? Who is Hansadut? Then Prabhupada was like, who said you are Hansadut? Then he was like, what? You just gave me the name. Then Prabhupada said, no, you are Hansadut Das. The name is not important. The word after the name, no, the suffix, that is more important. Right? Das, you are a servant, you are not someone. Right? So you are Das. So that is what we need to understand. What are we? Who are we? We are just das. We are servant. Our job is to serve Krishna, no one else, right? So then he was like, true, what did I do? I just got lost, engrossed in after initiation. We take initiation to serve, only for service. But if we get proud, or we get puffed up because of initiation, saying, oh, I got this name, I'm so happy, I'm so great. No, what are we after that? Das or Dasi. That's it, right? We are servants. That is very important, no? So we are here to serve the Lord. And we get initiation to serve again, right? To serve the Lord is why we take initiation. Initiation is always for service, not for anything else. Byproducts, as byproducts, yes, our sinful reactions get destroyed, right? We become completely pure at heart. All that is there. But the main purpose of taking initiation is to serve, because Krishna won't accept the service otherwise, right? It should be formally connected through the parampara. So this was something that enlightened, it should enlighten all of us. No, we are at the end of the day, what are we? We are not enjoyers. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. Suhridam sarva bhutanam jnatvam shanti marchati. Right? So Krishna is the enjoyer, we are not the enjoyer. Right? And when we understand this completely, and when we engage in pure devotional service, see, Prabhupada writes over here, pure devotional service necessitates purifying the senses or engaging them in the activities of devotional service. This is what I told you. Controlling senses means engaging them in the service of the Lord. And that is called devotional service. And what kind of engagement should it be? You shouldn't be expecting anything in return. That is very, very challenging for all of us, right? Because in the initial stages, we start expecting, Krishna, I'm doing this. I will chant 16 rounds today. Tomorrow I'll chant 64 rounds. You give me this. You give me promotion in office. You give me that. You give me this. I will chant more, right? Initially, that is how it is happening, right? Because we are not purified. That is okay. Krishna accepts it, right? Krishna accepted Dhruva Maharaj's demand also, no? That's how he became pure. But one advantage is, because we are asking Krishna, even for something, right, for money or a big house or whatever it is, because we are asking Krishna, he will purify us. He will make sure we become pure devotee at the end of the day, right? That is one advantage we get by praying to Krishna. Right? Akama sarva kamava moksha kama udaradihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajita purusham param. Right? Akama, sarva kama, whatever desires you have, no desires, liberation you want, whatever you want, just pray to Krishna. Do not go to demigods or do not go to anyone. Just pray to Krishna. That time what happens? Krishna will purify you. Dhruva Maharaj got purified in the same way, right? Krishna purified him by keeping the shank on his head. He purified him completely, right? So same way, because we are praying to Krishna, we will become pure devotees. Krishna takes charge of us. He will take our responsibility and he will make sure we become pure devotees. He will cleanse our heart. He will cleanse our heart. Sadhya avarudyate. Right, Bhagavatam, Krishna enters our heart when we hear Bhagavatam, and he starts cleaning. Can you imagine? Like literally taking soap and water and starts cleaning our heart so that we become pure. And there was one Mataji, right? She was on the deathbed, okay? And she is actually disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada had left the world long ago. Then this Mataji got, admitted in the hospital, right? And then the doctors declared death, right? The doctor said, okay, she's no more, right? They checked her brain, they checked her heart, they checked everything, ECG, everything, and finally they declared she is no more. Okay, so then all the devotees were there doing kirtan when she was leaving the body. They were like, oh, she's no more. So there was one pause, okay, and then everything was silent. Suddenly what happened? She started breathing, heavy breathing. The doctors came running and they were like, what? We just declared her dead. How can this happen? How can she breathe? Right? They all came running, and then they tried to see what is happening. All doctors were also shocked, right? And then she started talking. Can you imagine? She started talking, and you know what she told? I think this is a very famous incident. Anyone knows what she told? What she told? Anyone?
Srila Prabhupada didn't lie.
Haribol! Exactly. She said Srila Prabhupada did not lie. Just one sentence. She told that, and again she left the body. Like, right? The breathing stopped, everything stopped. Just to say that one sentence, she came, right? Krishna empowered her, right? And she came back and she told Srila Prabhupada never lied. And what exactly is she trying to say with this? This means what? Srila Prabhupada never lied means what?
That there is Krishna.
That there is Krishna. That means, see, one senior devotee decoded this. So what exactly she was trying to say? It seems that when the soul leaves the body, antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. When you think about Krishna and leave the body, and what happens? You go directly to Krishna. right? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, Krishna says in 8th chapter, right? Because there was Harinam going on and she was thinking of Krishna, or at least seeing the deity or whatever. We don't know what she was doing. But because she was remembering Krishna at the time of death, her soul directly went to Goloka, right? And when the soul went to Goloka, she saw Goloka from outside and she saw Srila Prabhupada at the doorstep of Goloka, and she came back running to tell the world that it's not lies. Can you imagine? It's not lies, it is the truth. Srila Prabhupada did not lie to us. Goloka is there, Krishna is there. If you think about Krishna and offer devotion service at the time of death, especially, you will definitely go back to Godhead. Just to tell that, she came back and she went back again. Right? And Srila Prabhupada also writes in one of the letters, right, where one of the devotee asks, Prabhupada, if you leave the world, then what? Will you be with me in any way with your disciples, right? And Prabhupada responds saying, I will be with you until you reach Goloka. And that devotee asks, okay, can we recognize you when we come to Goloka? Can we recognize you? And what Prabhupada said, anyone knows? Can we recognize you? One devotee asks. No one knows? Okay. So Prabhupada says, of course you can recognize me, because I will be the one at the entrance of Goloka, holding your hand, dragging you inside Goloka, and introducing you to Krishna. I will introduce you to Krishna and then only I will leave. Can you imagine? That's what a spiritual master does. Right? Never until we go to Goloka will the spiritual master leave us. Right? But we have to offer pure devotion service. We have to be highly sincere in our heart, sincere at heart. Right? That is very important. And the starting step to become pure devotee is the desire, like I said. We have to have that intense desire. Right? Many people say, no, oh, I'm not pure, I'm not eligible to offer pure devotion service. How can I even think of going back home, back to Godhead in my dreams? Right? I can't do that, they say. But the main thing is that only having that desire. With the desire, Krishna gives you the hope, and he will open the door for you. Right? Tatra laulyam api maulyam ekala. In Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, Tatra laulyam. Laulyam is the currency, the money that you pay to become pure devotees. Nothing is for free, no, in this world. We know all that very well. We have to pay if you want something, right? So if you want to become pure devotee and offer Krishna pure devotion service, then the money or the you have to pay, the cost you have to pay is laulyam. Laulyam means desire, intense desire, not normal desire, intense desire. That's why it is said over here, rigid devotion service, intense desire, right? You have to have, I will become pure devotee, I want to become pure devotee, I want to follow the 4 regulative principles, I want to take initiation. That want should be very intense in the heart. Then Krishna will start showing you the Vedadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mahupayantite. Right? So that is very important. And ways to develop the desire, you all already told the ways, right? Shravanam, eating prasadam, association with devotees, right? So that is the ways to develop desire. Right? So with all that, you can definitely develop that desire. But main thing is, it should be very strong, right? It should be very strong. And that Shravanam Kirtanam process should be consistent, right? It should be consistent. Like one devotee was saying that growth is always moving, right? It's always dynamic, it's never stagnant, right? If you do Shravanam Kirtanam consistently every single day, right? Some devotees take off, no, oh, today is weekend, I'm so busy, I won't do Shravanam Kirtanam. No, every day consistently, if you do Shravanam Kirtanam, it means you're growing. Growth is unidirectional. So you grow, as in you move forward, right? But say one day you don't, right? One day you miss your devotion service. It could be anything, Shravanam, Kirtanam, whatever it is. If you miss a one particular day, that means many of us think, okay, I missed only today. Nothing great happened, nothing much I will miss. Tomorrow I will do, right? But that one day you're actually going backwards. you're actually going backwards. It's never stagnant. It's never stagnant. You either move forward or you move backward, right? You don't stay in that same place. There's something very, very important, right? It takes so much effort to, climb up the stairs and reach, right? You reach the top of the staircase. It takes so much effort because you have to climb each step and go, right? Say you fall down from the middle. You don't fall down one step, you roll down the entire staircase. I mean, how many ever steps you've climbed so far, you will roll down all that and you'll come back to zero, right? So growth is exactly like that, right? Growth, if effort from our side is not consistent, then we will fall down and we will fall down back to, square zero. I mean, you have to come back to where you started it from, and again build on it, again climb one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time, right? So that is why, consistent effort is very important. Consistency is very, very important, right? So very important. Otherwise, because it's not stagnant, we are going backwards, we are not moving forward. One day if we miss, right? So it's very important. That's why progress, no, it's very difficult to progress in devotion service, because we are not having proper planned systematic timetable, right? One day we miss, no, today so much of work, I couldn't do it. While doing also you can listen. If you're not doing brain work, definitely we don't do brain work all the entire 24 hours, right? So at least half an hour every day lecture is important. Shravanam, that too Prabhupada's lecture if possible, very, very important, right? And anyway we chant, that's okay, right? But listening to lectures are very important, that too from pure devotees mouth, because that Shravanam, when you listen to a lecture, right, that gives you the motivation to chant better. Otherwise our chanting will be in aparat stage, it'll remain in aparat stage only. But when you listen to a lecture, you get that strength, motivation, kind of new spirit, then you'll chant better, right? So lecture is very important. One devotee says, I can't move without Prabhupada's lecture. While cooking, lecture is playing. While washing vessels, lecture is playing. When washing clothes, lecture is playing. From morning till evening, she will have something or the other playing in her house. Either she chants, or she will play some lecture, or she'll ask her family members to tell some Krishna Katha. All of them are devotees at home, at her house, right? So it was so nice, like entire day she's completely into Krishna consciousness, right? So very important to offer devotional service, right? So otherwise, see, if Prabhupada says in one of the purports, you can't live without desires. No, we can't live. We are all having life, right? We are all, everybody who has life cannot live without desires. Then how to perform devotion service if we have desires? Any answers?
Now we need to shift the desires towards a spiritual way.
Yeah, you have to spiritualize your desires. All of us have desires. Prabhupada says only a dead stone cannot be without desires. Everything living will have desires, right? But you have to spiritualize the desires by keeping Krishna in the center. What is keeping Krishna in the center? What is, we've heard this so many times, keep Krishna in the center, keep Krishna in the center. But what is really keeping Krishna in the center?
Just remembering for any action we do,
Hmm?
that is what we tell as well.
Remembering, yeah, but there is one term Prabhupada uses. Anyone knows?
Surrendering,
Mm,
taking shelter.
no.
Being Krishna
Hmm. That is only spiritualizing desires, but how?
Like Ananya Chinta,
That is thinking about the Lord. Ananyas Chintayanto ma'am. But how? Okay. So we have to dovetail our activities. Dovetail our activities for the Lord. Instead of doing an activity and thinking about the Lord, or doing kirtan, that is basic level. Okay, do what you're doing, right? And then just play one kirtan or just chant Harinam and do what you're doing. That is one way of spiritualizing, but that is basic level. Second level, or the actual level of keeping Krishna in the center, is dovetailing our activities for the Lord, right? Doing the activity in itself for the Lord, right? Instead of, I mean, first level is, see, hope I'm clear. First level is understanding, I mean, doing the activity, but just, remembering Krishna or playing some Harinam or chanting, right? That is one level of remembering Krishna and doing the activity. Second stage, or the actual stage that Prabhupada recommends, is dovetailing the activities for the Lord, doing the activity in itself for the Lord, right? How am I going to, I mean, literally thinking, okay, this, I'm doing this activity, but is this going to be a service to the Lord? Like one devotee I know, okay, he always goes out and he's initiated, but he's still struggling, right? So he always goes out and buys outside food, which does not have onion garlic, and he comes, he offers, and then he says, see, I'm offering, and then I'm having prasadam. He's a kid, he's a little kid, but still he's initiated, okay? And so he always says that, I'm going out, I will buy prasadam and I'll offer it to the Lord, and I will have, I mean, as in buying food without onion garlic, and I will offer it. See, it will become prasadam that time. So that is, that he, in the initial stage, that is accepted, but progressing forward, rigid devotional service is very important. So what happens, literally dovetailing the activity for the Lord is very, very important, right? So like for example, going to office, when you go to office, if your work doesn't involve much of brain work, whole day in office you can listen to something, some bhajan, you can read, you can learn shlokas, right? So many devotees do that, they write shlokas and they keep it near their keyboard, right? They keep looking at the shloka, and then they keep memorizing, they keep learning, right? So every day they will learn one shloka, one new shloka, right? So that is first stage, but the actual stage is you have to do this plus doing the activity in itself for the Lord, working for the Lord, so using that money for the Lord, keeping little for yourself and understanding this money belongs to Krishna. I need little, I will take for my maintenance, right? And using it very, very sustainably. For what am I using this money? Do I need this? Do I need that? Right? Consciously judging and then using, because it is someone else's money, not yours. That is something we have to understand. So doing something for the Lord is the actual way of spiritualizing or keeping Krishna in the center, right? Like anything, it could be any relationship also, like marriage, right? When husband and wife, if both of them are devotees, right, they get married, marriage in itself is for the Lord. They have to like just arpanam, no, they have to offer the marriage in itself for the Lord. So both of them have come together to only serve, nothing else, not for sense gratification, right? So children also, they will make children also into devotees, right? So that way, dovetailing everything for the Lord is actually keeping Krishna in the center, right? So the second stage also includes doing the activity with Harinam and listening and all that, right? So like sweeping the house, sweeping by listening to some lecture is one way, yes, but sweeping for the Lord, this is a temple, Krishna is there at home, that's why I'm keeping the house clean. And just look at the way the consciousness shifts, right? That happiness in the heart doubles. Sweeping will become so enjoyable. Sweeping will be like a highest level devotional service, like as though aarti you're doing, you will sweep, because you're thinking, I'm doing this because Krishna is there at home. This is a temple, and that's why I'm sweeping. I should keep it clean, otherwise, Krishna will feel bad. Right? I want Krishna to be comfortable. So, literally doing everything for Krishna, thinking about Him, doing it for Him. This is called keeping Krishna in the center. Right? So, when you cook for the Lord and eat prasadam, right? Just see the happiness you get. Then buying sattvic food outside and just offering and saying, I offered, so it's become prasadam. I'm eating prasadam. That means it's not recommended. For beginner stage, yes, but not always. Right? This is actually called keeping Krishna in the center. Very, very, very important. Right? So there is one story in this context. Okay, so once what happened, there are two friends. Okay, one friend gave a broken pot, as in pot was there, it had full of holes in the pot, and then he gave that pot to his other friend and said, see, this pot has holes in it, right? But you have to fill the pot. The pot should be full of water. I don't know what you'll do it. So he, you know what the other friend did? He took the pot, he threw the pot inside the river, in the middle of the river. Then what happened? The pot was inside the river. It was, when you throw, first the pot gets immersed in water, right? Even if it has to float, it'll first get immersed and then only it'll come up. So when it was immersed, in that immersed time, he said, see, the pot is full of water. Because when the pot is immersed, definitely it is full of water, right? So isn't it full? He asks. So this is exactly what we need to understand. Our mind is full of holes. It'll leak. Our mind is so much full of holes that even if you listen to any kind of lecture, even if Prabhupada is coming and telling you something, the information leaks out through the holes because of our material tendencies, right? So what happens, just like how this pot had to be in water 24 hours for it to be full, same way we have to immerse ourselves all the time, 24 hours, in some or the other kind of devotional activity. The moment we pause, we can ourselves see the difference, no? Our mind starts going towards material, right? Either, that's why I told, either you serve Maya or we serve Krishna, right? So if you are not thinking about Krishna, you are actually thinking about Maya. For yourself, your family, your country, all this is Maya only. Krishna says, Prabhupada says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, what is lust and what is love? Doing things for yourself, for your family, for your society, for your relatives, for your country, for your world, all that comes under lust. That is sense gratification, Maya. Doing things only for Krishna and his pure devotees, that is your Guru and Krishna, if you do things, then only it is called Krishna Prema. Prema it is called, or love, right? So many people argue what is love, what is lust. No, I'm doing selflessly for this person. That is still lust because that person is still in the material world. You are not doing for Krishna. Only when we do something for our Guru and Krishna, then it becomes love. Otherwise, it is lust. It comes under the category of lust. It is sense gratification, right? So that mind has holes, no? So it will mislead us, and we will get misled easily without even our understanding. So another example, how to think about the Lord. You know, gopis in Vrindavan, how do they sell butter? Anyone knows how they were selling butter in Vrindavan?
In the mud pots, they are selling actually.
In the mud pots, no? So how they were selling? Like they used to keep the mud pots. They used to sit like in a marketplace, and then when someone comes, what they used to say?
They will tell, some people tell it is Krishna. But they will tell butter itself as a Krishna in the menu.
Yeah, Haribol, exactly. One pot they will name Madhava, the other pot they will name Govinda, the other pot they will name maybe Krishna, right? So like this they used to name. They would never call it butter. Then they would say, oh, how much you want? 1 kg of Madhava you want? 1 kg of Govinda you want? That is how they used to sell. Can you imagine? So this is how they used to, even ISKCON temples, no? You have seen Krishna, ISKCON Vrindavan, they call Balram Hall. Bhagavatam classes are taken in Balram Hall, right? For Prasadam Hall, they have named it something, I forgot. I think Krishna Hall or something, right? So each hall they have named in the form of Krishna, right? So in fact, one senior devotee, okay, she has named her dogs Krishna. Not literally Krishna. One dog's name she has named, I think, Hari, and the other dog's name she has named Dravin. Dravin is also Krishna's name, right? Can you imagine? And she feeds those dogs with Krishna Prasadam only, right? So this way you can think about Krishna in your day-to-day activities, right? There is no limit only to think about Krishna. How you are going to do it again depends on how much laulyam, how much intense desire we have, right? Like Prabhupada looked at a van and said, this is a van for you, but for me this is a vehicle to carry Krishna's books. Can you imagine? See from where, how nicely that innovative ideas came, right? So that innovative ideas come depending on the degree of the desire we have in the heart, right? That is very important. And that's why I think Bhishma told, no, in Bhishma Stuti, first shloka Bhishma Stuti, he says, I am marrying my mind to Krishna. I have a daughter, right? And anyone knows who is the daughter of Krishna? Bhishma. Bhishma is what? Brahmachari, right? But he has a daughter. No one knows? Guesses? Any guesses? Anyone?
Kartikayani,
Huh? Who is that?
Kartikayani,
I don't know.
Kartikayani.
Is it given in any Purana or something?
Oh, it's somewhere here.
Oh, I have no idea. But here in Bhagavatam, it is given that he has a daughter, although he is a brahmachari, and there is a name also for that daughter. Anyone knows? Bhakti. You're very close, actually. Ekambe Rao Prabhu, you're very close. Okay. So he says, iti mati rupa kalpita vitrishna, right? Iti mati rupa kalpita, right? So Bhishma Dev is unmarried, he's brahmachari, but he has a daughter. What is it? Mati. Mati means mind. He calls his mind his daughter. Okay. And what he wants to do? He wants to get married. He wants his daughter to get married. Before he dies, it's his responsibility, no, to marry a daughter. Every father has the responsibility. So, to marry off the daughter. So, same way, he has a daughter named Mine. And before leaving the world, this Bhishma Suti was sung on the deathbed of Bhishma, right? So, before he leaves the world, he wanted to marry off his daughter and get rid of the responsibility. So he says, Krishna, I have a daughter, very beautiful. She is my mind, right? And I want to marry my mind to you because I want to marry my daughter to the most handsome person in this world. To the most handsome person in the world. And I cannot find anybody other than you who's handsome, right? So, I want to marry my daughter to you, so you please marry her. So he's marrying his mind to Krishna. That means what? He's actually saying, I always want to think about Krishna. That's all. While dying, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, tyajati ante kalevaram, tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Krishna says, no, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. Whatever you think of at the time of death, you will become that, right? You will become that after in your life after death, right? In your next janma. So he wants to make sure he thinks only about Krishna. If the mind marrying Krishna means mind thinking about Krishna all the time, right? Manmana, right? Krishna says two times in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says manmana. And then when mind marries Krishna, obviously the mind becomes the wife of Krishna, no? Wife will think only about husband. A chaste wife always thinks about husband. So if mind marries Krishna, mind will always think about Krishna, right? Husband. So this is written by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Okay. So in his commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, you will find this very, very beautiful commentary. I would suggest you to read in your free time. Right. So it's a complete different way of understanding the internal meaning of what Bhishma Dev was trying to say in Bhishma Stuti. Right. So very beautiful actually. That way we can actually become pure devotees. It's like a star in the sky as of now. Pure devotion service, it might seem like a star in the sky, but we already know, our acharyas have told what is the basic or the starting qualification to become a pure devotee: to have the desire, intense desire, dream about it, day and night dream about it. Desire should be there, intense desire. I want to at all cost. I don't know how, Krishna, you're going to make it possible, but you have to make it possible. right? So you have to pray to the acharyas, you have to pray to the spiritual master, guru, pray to Srila Prabhupada, right? Pray to Gaur Nitai. Only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can give us Krishna Prem, not Krishna, right? So we have to pray to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then one day this will happen, right? So when you have desire, Krishna will give you the strength to follow the four regulative principles. Krishna will give you the strength to chant Shuddha Nam, not Namaparad. You can chant Nama Bhas, with that if you have desire. So when you have that desire, Krishna will give you the mercy, right? If see Krishna, why will Krishna give you if you don't want something? He is ready to shower mercy, but he should know, right, whether we want it or not. So to show him that we want it, we have to desire, right? And in the heart, no. So Paramatma is sitting in our heart. So he will see, oh, okay, I can see some desire in the heart. Then he will shower mercy. Okay, Hare Krishna, any questions? Anyone? Or anything you want to add to it?
Mataji, if we miss a certain number of chanting on a certain day, then can we carry it over to
Yeah.
the next day or?
Yes, that is the right practice, Prabhu. If you miss something due to any reason, if you miss some number of chanting rounds, always carry it forward to the next day and finish it. So 16 plus your missed extra rounds should be completed the next day, and then that is, acceptable. PhD. No. Okay.
Mataji, like, is there any Prabhupada country on Vishnu Sahasranama?
No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't know actually. I will check and I will let you know.
fine.
Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. So basically, one more point I wanted to say, this prayers, like we discussed in the beginning, in the intro class, these prayers are actually chat, they are just chatting amongst themselves. The ladies of Hastinapura, they are just chatting amongst themselves, right? But because the way they are talking about Krishna, even if it is just, like chatting, Krishna is impressed because they are actually glorifying the Lord, right? So today we all have to understand, when two people are in the same place, instead of talking whatever, right, prajalpa it's called, instead of that, if we talk about Krishna, you never know, we will get that mercy faster, right? Krishna says, no, Chatushloki Gita, what does he say? Mat chitta mat kata prana bodhayanta parasparam katayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Right? So Krishna, when two devotees are in a same place and they talk about Krishna like this, right? Even in the form of chatting, what happens? And if those devotees take pleasure in from it, talking about Krishna, then Krishna will also take pleasure, and Krishna wants that. Krishna loves that, and that's why Krishna never looked at the Vedic hymns that were chanted. He was straight up. He was looking at the rooftop where the ladies were chatting, right? So instead of prajalpa, controlling the tongue means using the tongue to serve the Lord. So talking about Krishna is the way to control the tongue, right? Vacho vegam. Hare Krishna. Yeah, any questions, anyone? Any more questions? Goosebumps. Prabhupada's lectures you should listen, more, 100 times more goosebumps you'll get, when you listen to Prabhupada's lecture. Simple words, such simple words, but so touching, and it just enters the heart. All of you should listen. So next class, I will give you an assignment, okay? Listen to Prabhupada lecture, maybe every day one, or however it's possible, maybe once in 2 days. Okay? On Saturday, you come and tell me how was your experience listening to Prabhupada's lectures. Directly Prabhupada's lectures, no other lectures. Just Prabhupada lectures. Prabhupada lectures are just 30 minutes, 35 minutes. That's it, maximum. Right? Some lectures are just 20 minutes. But those 20 minutes, I can challenge you, the kind of experience you get, nowhere else you get it, right? So all of you come back and tell me next Saturday how you felt after listening to Prabhupada's lectures. Okay? Okay, accepted? All of you?
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, there is
Yes,
also
Mataji.
one book reading class actually. Book
Yeah,
reading.
morning,
Yes,
no?
Mataji.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yes.
some people can.
Yes.
I'm regularly attending it, so that people can join where they find time. So that's useful and as you said.
Yeah, Haribol, very nice. Book reading club, yeah, we have started. No, all of you can join
That,
if you have
that
time.
is very good, Mataji. We have also experienced.
Very nice, Haribol.
The third book is going on. So
Haribol,
2
very
books are covered.
okay. Hare Krishna. Yeah, so please join if possible in the morning. Maybe when you're riding, you can listen. When you're driving, when you're in the kitchen, okay? So you can join. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So Acharya's mercy flows, and that's how, we get a chance to associate and learn about Krishna. Okay, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavindi ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna.